Alrighty. My room is terrible. I mean, it's nice, but I gotta clean up all these lines. But finally got the water coming in, and no moisture, no leaks. There was a little leak right here, but everything goes out. Tees out first to this, which has got to go upstairs, and then it tees out left and right, and then that just continually goes to the rest of the trays. So yeah, everything is good. There's no water leaking. It's pretty complex. I got to get covers put on, or else I'm gonna get algae. But it's pretty complex. But in my flow rate, you know, it's supposed to be 500 gallons a day, and it's between all three of them, and it's not really doing that. And my filters need to be cleaned and all that good stuff, but you can see that I'm getting little drippies here and there, and this one's got a little bit more output for some reason, so this is odd, but they're filling up, so we're making progress. I got one light, this one, ironically, wait a minute. That was the wrong light I've been testing. That's kind of hilarious. I had that light right there actually not working, and I thought it was this ballast. I guess I didn't notice I was unplugging the wrong ballast, but so I'm still down by one ballast. I gotta get some money up and get that ordered. There we go. Yay! Alright, so not much else to report. I'm gonna spend some time in here and get all the air pumps hooked up to one single circuit, and then just run them off. I gotta grab another one from upstairs or from the house that I'm not using, and run it that way so they all turn on, turn off. I might not run them 24/7 because of the noise they produce, but just to have the ability to turn them off and make the room really quiet is kind of a nice thing. Speed controllers, I got 4 of them. Probably at least one will go upstairs. But yeah, that's all about just dialing the room to get the temperature and the environment right. So the ozone has been in there for like 2 weeks now. It just makes this really cool smell outside. And I should show that, but I guess I haven't yet. And of course the fans. But yes, my cabling is horrendous, and I gotta clean my glass again. I actually cleaned this glass, but this stuff has been sitting around unused for a while, and it's really on there. And even the new lights, the people that helped me get this up and running, you did kind of a crappy job with all this ducting and stuff. And I've been not able to move very well, and that's why it's taken so long. Hello, Alexa. Alexa. There you are. So, yeah. So just little things here and there that I've got to do. But everything works, and I've got to get another Digilux bulb. But yeah, not much to report. Just cleaning up out there in the main part, and moving stuff upstairs. And I gotta find a way up. I've got this little spot here. Not a lot of space to work between these trays. Got a little spot here where they had drilled a hole, and I believe that goes straight up without any real interference. So that's where I should be able to run my my water hose for the upstairs. So that's about it for now. Like I said, not a lot of progress. I'm going to be working out here all day today, though. Now that I know all my lights are still working on this side, I'll get that other ballast ordered. But we keep filling, and good things will come. We've got this one completely plumbed, and we just add the air to it. And that one's got the tube. We got all the pumps, so we just got to add the tube to that one. And then I've got this one ready, and I believe I've got like enough tubes to do one more table. But this table And this kind of pisses me off, and I should have did something before I drilled that stupid hole right there. But as you notice, this table has 1, 2, 3, and then like this little half one and that little half one, right? And the other 3 tables have it 1, 2, 3, 4. And I didn't notice that. And so I drilled this hole, which I really can't get the nut in the bottom for the overflow. So I might run up to my shop and see if I can maybe shave a nut down enough where it'll still fit in there, and maybe epoxy it from the bottom, and pray that I can get lucky enough that I can make this super thin-walled on the front and back nut that'll allow me to screw in an overflow. Doesn't matter if it, leaks, as long as it doesn't leak a ton, which in the end it probably won't leak much at all. But because my pumps are very powerful and they'll fill this thing up and keep it filled up for the duration of feeding, no problem. But still, I should have just stopped, and I don't know what I could have done after. I mean, I just didn't notice. It's the same tray. It's like, how did I get this tray out of 4 trays that doesn't match the other tray, even though it's like the same tray? So mismanufacturing or design change or whatever. I think maybe this was an older tray and they realized, yeah, they need, more overflows and outs, or more pads in the center that are unrestricted than not. So yeah, but big air stones, and usually they lay right underneath the overflow, so as the tray fills up and starts to overflow, the reservoir ends up getting pretty low, which is nice. And the amount of force, I mean, it's like garden hoses falling back in, because these pumps are powerful. So they feed it really well. Those drop it really well. Super oxygenates it. And, super oxygenates it, and splashes any, physical debris from like great white or any biological around, and mixes it all up pretty well every time it feeds. It's worked out really well for me. I talk a lot about this with probably a lot of my other videos, but that brings up the idea of the air pump, though. They talk about swirling and mixing and oxygenating, of course, like brews the more biologicals and stuff, but maybe I might stagger this 10 times a day to come on and off, and let things settle, and let things get mixed up, and let the carbon dioxides and other byproducts potentially build up without being so stirred up. There might not be a point to that. I actually want to research some of that stagnation and go from there, because if I could turn the pumps down, it's less evaporation and it's actually less heat. These things, no matter what, produce a fair amount of heat. And I was watching the Growers Roundtable yesterday, and I did see the guy talking about doing organics with a DWC with a chiller, and in the end, eventually all these reservoirs will be set into the ground like the old setup, so they'll be chill. And even though I run Psycho or other nutrient lines like that, I still run Rhizo, and I still run beneficial bacteria, and it still theoretically, well, not theoretically, it still thrives, and it still provides a lot of benefits. So, but the heat is an issue. I don't think it's going to be that bad in here. I'm not happy with the black trays. It's just the white trays are hard to find and so much more expensive, more than double the cost. And I had to replace the white trays I had because they were actually cracked from being under UV light for so long. They became brittle and actually cracked, and they're in the back right now with some parts I need to harvest. But I don't like the idea of black, but the plants themselves and the canopy and what have you are going to block most of that light, most of that heat. So where I'm at next, and what I've been thinking about next, of course, after cleaning up all my cables and stuff, when I get my last ballast on the wall and get everything running good, is what I'm going to do for the trellis. Am I just going to do standard tomato cages, which I've done before? Or am I going to do a trellis? And of course I've always wanted to do my double layer trellis out here. What I wanted to design is some sort of system with like a string and pulleys and like, you know, a 1 foot divider that would divide the foot mark, and at like 2 feet up you'd have your first trellis, and then you'd have your top trellis. And you'd be able to just, you know, clear the plants of it, pull it up out of the way, and get ready for the next run. But looking at the space limitations I kind of have with the ceiling, I think that'd be kind of hard to do, kind of hard to automate. And, you know, it's not the simplest thing in the world. And you know, with all the automation I have seemingly working and working well for me, you know, it still makes things complex. So I may just fork out the money and get tomato cages. It just may be the best way moving forward for now. It's always a good investment regardless, and I'm going to have more plants upstairs than in flowering. So even if I do eventually build a trellis like I want to, I need to, you know, I'll have that asset for supporting the plants upstairs, because upstairs is not gonna really have a trellis. There's not a good way to do that, and it's extra work pulling veg plants down that in most cases don't even need that type of support. So there's not gonna be a trellis, but the cages, yeah, I probably need the cages upstairs. So as you can see, one of the major limiting factors, you come in the door, it's, you know, 2 foot, 2.5 foot, but the main lane is fairly narrow. Eventually, at some point, I'm going to actually cut these edges off to open up the space like I had done with my original trays. But again, that's all a lot of work, and I have the tools for it, but it's not killing me right now. I'm a pretty small guy, but this lane right here, I might do some readjustments, but this lane is pretty narrow. Now in between, there's pretty good space. So there's going to be no problem, you know, effectively reaching any part of any plant. Even on the back wall stuff, it's not really an issue to reach out and get to the center. So with this layout, as opposed to laying it the other way, which a lot of people, you know, I had discussed laying everything this way, and yeah, hard to even envision, but this ended up being the better way, and I still got some adjustments to do, and, you know, clean all these light glass and hang these cables up pretty, but I think eventually I do want to do some sort of trestle. And if I don't do my hanging system, you know, even the oscillator fan is close, you know, to where the plant canopy is going to be right there. So luckily I can dial these things down, because there'll be a little bit of wind burned over there. And that's just the tightness I have. It's not quite, you know, so bad with this one. And I might be able to, and probably will, move that fan like over there, or even possibly mount it on the ceiling. So that could kind of get it out of the plant space. I didn't quite think about that until now, actually. Or possibly just add them on the back wall there. But, you know, I've got that one right there. But regardless of that, I can move that little stuff around. But to do a trestle, it just seems like I would have to have like a wooden frame, and it would be pretty big and somewhat cumbersome if on the ground, and it would take up even more space, you know, unless it was inset in the walking path that I barely have. So I might still try to adapt some sort of idea of maybe just hanging hooks. Maybe not the whole pulley system, but just hanging hook with wire, with the divider, you know, piece of aluminum sleeve, and then a big heavy weight, just straight hanging with a weight, something I could, you know, on this part, of course, I could pretty much reach up and pull it right down. On this part, it'd be a little taller, but it would be there, it would be supported, and, you know, the plants would grow into it and find support from it, but it wouldn't necessarily be solid. So unless I hang, you know, wood from the top and make, you know, a beam or a frame for just the lower canopy. So I'm looking for ideas, I guess, on that one. You know, when it all came down, the most important stuff ended up being, you know, getting all this up and running, and that's been a chore. That's taken way too long to get, you know, the drywall up, get the room up, get it insulated, and even get this far. It's been quite a chore. And with my legs having major issues for more than 3 months now, it's been hard for me to get up and move around. So, but I'm very soon to actually be popping seeds. I have some BOG and some TOC, some TGA, I mean, and looking forward to it. So I want to maybe replace that fan back there too, because that one is silent. The one upstairs are silent, and those two are silent, but that one's got a bit of noise to it. But so yeah, pretty much just a little more discussion of things that I have to figure out while moving forward. So like and subscribe, and I guess we will talk later. Bye.